Hello, welcome to this update for Asia and Africa as well. So we'll take a look at the weather spots of Asia and Africa. But before we gotta look at this tropical storm in the South China Sea. So we have Typhoon Bualoi. It already strengthened to a typhoon after passing the Philippines. So it already has passed the Philippines and it's over the South China Sea. And it already caused some very heavy rain in the Philippines, and it's expected to hit Vietnam in a few hours, like central to northern Vietnam and into Laos. This area here has had a lot of tropical storms and typhoons over the last month or so. So this one going out might cause even bigger flooding because the ground's already saturated and everything. So please, if you are in those areas, stay safe, especially central Vietnam, spots in northern Laos, all these areas here. There are already some strong storms already happening, and then the typhoon might arrive by tomorrow. Today is September 27th, so by the 28th, it might be around there. So let's see here. Shows like there's still tropical storm Negu that's still out in the Pacific, but it is expected to weaken soon. And there's like Bualoi around the central South China Sea, and then by tonight it gets closer. It should make landfall late Sunday, right around central Vietnam. Especially here, it shows right close to the Sea of Ink. So please stay safe there, especially damaging winds and everything. So shows like a typhoon with 175 km per hour sustained winds. Probably this might change, but it does show it strengthening slightly more because 175 is more than 150, and now it's supposedly 140 km per hour sustained wind. So please be careful for there, especially the damaging wind gusts, and right before landfall it should weaken a bit. So please stay safe in those areas. Warn others. There's like the models show it going the general direction towards central Vietnam. The GFS does a crazy recurve, but don't really focus on that. But the models don't go like much further, so it might stay there a while, cause some heavy rain. And eventually, the remnants they have here going further into Southeast Asia, the remnants. So please be careful this storm coming, and like let's see here, and stay safe from flooding and everything. So there's the zero CGFS, shows like the storm is in the South China Sea, strengthens slightly more, and then starts to weaken. It goes and might cause some heavy rain over the rest of Southeast Asia, possibly even a small depression in the Bay of Bengal by October 2nd. So that shows a small possibility. And the GFS forms another storm right towards the Philippines again on October 3rd. So this goes in the same area in the South China Sea, and the GFS forms another again. So I don't think this will happen because the GFS, it's kind of crazy. But better just watch. There's the European with Typhoon Podolo there in Vietnam now. It goes further into Laos and northern Thailand, and there across Myanmar, the remnants. And it might try to form something in the Bay of Bengal, but still too far out, And later, it doesn't really have anything else in the Western Pacific, just a few disturbances. So the GFS is still hallucinating. There's the Canadian model, shows like the typhoon goes in now. It might affect like areas that were recently affected by Typhoon Ragasa, like south northern Vietnam and maybe somewhere across southernmost China. And then later, the Canadian tries to form a small depression on October 2nd to the South China Sea, but kind of fails, and later doesn't show much else. So please just be monitoring. There's the Indian Ocean shows like this goes. There's a lot of rain spots the Bay of Bengal in early October. Shows a low pressure tries to form, but not really consolidates. Even might like shows 1,003 millibars over Bangladesh on October 4th. So still watching, but like nothing certain yet. The European has the typhoon goes into Vietnam, then it tries to form a low pressure, as you can see there in the Bay of Bengal by October 2nd. This just spins there and goes further into northern India, so it doesn't actually form any storm. But there's the GFS, shows like the 0C, shows there's a broad trough over central India, still storms happening, going to western India. This goes and it shows like something tries to form the northern Bay of Bengal on October 2nd, but it goes quickly into Bangladesh and doesn't have time to develop. So just watching the Bay of Bengal for heavy rain, but still nothing certain. So be aware in those areas, and does show here like for the rainfall, especially in Vietnam, as this comes in the next 12 hours, already shows some 40 to 60 millimeters in a few areas just in the next 12 hours. As this approaches, already a few storms in India, Myanmar, even like 64 millimeters. So be careful, and then 5 days does increase across Laos and Vietnam to 200, even close to 300 meters in the next 5 days. So please be careful. Most of it is just in the next 3 days as the typhoon approaches, even like 2 days. So it's a lot of rain in a short amount of time. So please stay safe, especially central northern Vietnam, with flooding, landslides, mudslides, and flash flooding. So please be careful. Southern Hainan, spots in northern Thailand as well, spots in northern Myanmar, and to northeastern India. So please be careful. Now it shows the moisture built in the Bay of Bengal to watch like 5 days, 100 meters in the Nicobar Islands, Andaman Islands, and spots the coastal Cambodia and everything. So please be careful, especially with the potential flooding there in Vietnam from these storms. The GFS is over 300 meters. The icon is about 347 to 330. The Europeans are about 240 to like close to 300 in a few mountains there, even like 330 in a few localized spots if you look close. So please stay safe in those areas. This might be a serious situation, especially in terms of flooding, but some storm surges expect as well and damaging winds. So please be careful. And another situation across western India to northwestern India, showing like 200 or more millimeters in this northwestern peninsula there, and southernmost Pakistan, a few storms as well. So please be careful with flooding there. Like the GFS is also a lot in Mumbai, more than 100 meters, and the icons even like 300 or more, 200 across this area, northwestern India. So there might be some dangerous flooding there as well. So stay safe and long range, gotta watch very closely the Bay of Bengal, Bangladesh, especially if a small depression forms and tracks into northern India. The Europeans like to 500 meters, the Indian-Nepal border next 10 days, 10 to 15 days. So I know that's a long time away, but better watch this because instead of Nepal, the GFS has Bangladesh. So the GFS like 400 meters in Bangladesh if the depression forms, and the icon goes into central India. So better just watch this in the long range. And please be careful in other areas show like central China, those fronts, close to 200 meters, a few spots. So please be careful, central China and a few more fronts into Japan still showing. And be careful, those tropical showers and storms as usual in Indonesia and to Malaysia. So just be careful, the showers and storms into Guinea and West and Papua New Guinea. In spots in the Philippines, more those tropical showers and downpours. So just be careful, lightning, gusty winds and everything. And the rest of Asia still shows like very dry the Middle East, except for a storm or two in Yemen and some fronts still in the Caucasus with some rain and snow, and Turkey, northern Iran still as well some rain and snow, and more snow across Russia, northern Russia into Siberia there, some rain on the coast as well, and in eastern eastern Kazakhstan as well. So be careful in those areas. And Central Africa does show across Western Africa still from those tropical waves, some 129 millimeters, even 200 in a few spots, even showing more in Mauritania, in the southern Sahara now. So be careful of few storms, flash flooding. Liberia, more spots, Western Africa. So be careful, some flooding. In Cameroon, still some heavy storms. So be careful, Central West Africa into Ethiopia, and already branching further south into northern Angola, a few storms, most of them occur in the Congo, except the far south and Gabon, those areas. So be careful. There's a front in South Africa, some rain as well. In Lesotho, shows spots of Mozambique, some rain a little bit in Madagascar. So as you can see now, some showers and a few storm spots South Africa. This goes into Sunday, into eastern South Africa. More showers and storms in Lesotho and into Mozambique. Still by Monday, northeastern South Africa. And later a storm or two in Madagascar as well into next week. So be aware, this might change still, but it's very likely. And the broad view shows like those showers and storms along the tropics in Western Africa, into Indonesia, Southeast Asia, the disturbance across Western India with all those downpours, those from central China and everything. So stay safe in those areas. Be careful, like by October 1st and September 30th show like a broad area of many showers and storms, Central Africa and still in Southeast Asia. So be careful in those areas and stay safe. Still shows like, let's see, in terms of snow, shows in Russia there, a lot in eastern Siberia, spots close to North America as well, and further east shows more like in the Kamchatka Peninsula, more across southern Russia into northern Mongolia, northern China, a little bit there in the Tian Shan, and in the eastern Himalayas, central eastern Himalayas, and a little bit in Tajikistan, but not much. And shows in the Caucasus, like spots central-ish Caucasus, as a centimeter or two in Turkey, spots in Afghanistan, in Kazakhstan as well, northern Kazakhstan, but especially eastern Kazakhstan, close to the mountains. So be aware. And the European has like 1 or 2 centimeters in Lesotho, like even 5 centimeters, a few areas. The GFS is also 45 centimeters Lesotho into a spot of South Africa. The icon nothing, but there's still a small chance there. So be aware. And the GFS in Asia is like the Caucasus, but Kazakhstan into Russia, Mongolia. So be aware those areas. Be careful, especially Russia. Those very cold temperatures in the snow. The GFS like to -4, even like -5 Saturday, Sunday, and this cold spreads further west into Russia. Spots in the mountains, Central Asia, and spots like -6. So be careful. -14. The European shows some spots like more precise to -16. Central Russia, even like -6, a few other spots in Siberia too, and spots in Mongolia, negative temperatures in the Himalayas. So be careful in those areas. Shows Sunday afternoon, especially to Monday morning, show like this cold spreads into Western Russia as well. Some negative temperatures, most of Central Russia. So Monday shows Tuesday, this kind of goes further south, northern Kazakhstan. Possibly some active temperatures, spots central Russia still into northern Mongolia, and more spots there. So be careful. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, still very cold, and it gets harsher, especially in Siberia to -22, possibly, right? -25 on the European, the GFS similar, the icon -19. So October 1st, October 2nd, the models are indicating getting much colder across central to eastern Russia into Mongolia, possibly more widespread negative temperatures, a few spots central Asia in the mountains. So we're still monitoring into October, but just keep in mind, and this changes a lot. So the warmer areas still shows very hot a few spots in the Middle East, in the low 40s, and over Central and Northern Africa, and spots in the desert. So Saturday does increase in the afternoon, like Mauritania, 2 to 42 degrees, 42. Southern Africa is already in the 30s, central southern areas. Southeast Asia, especially India and then to Pakistan, 39 to even 40 degrees, 42. If we're checking closer, like some 41 spots in Saudi Arabia, very hot still, into spots in Ethiopia. So be careful, shows southern India as well, and still China, central China is hot. So Sunday does get hot in the afternoon, central Africa, even 42, 43, in a few spots, and widespread 38, 37 to 39. And spots in the south already to like some 35 in Zambia, northern Zimbabwe. So be aware. Sunday shows still in the Middle East, especially those valleys, southern Iran and Pakistan to 45 degrees, spots in the Arabian Peninsula, still very hot in Iraq, southern Turkey, and a few warmer spots in the low elevations in Central Asia, but the rest is colder in the mountains, so be aware, still on the 29th, and like September 30th, across Southern Arabia Peninsula, central areas into Central Africa and Algeria, especially Mali and Algeria, close to 43 degrees. So stay safe, alright? Branching to Southern Africa. So this September 30th shows some warmer temperatures like Western South Africa, a few spots in Namibia, there into central areas. So be aware Tuesday during the night it does cool down still to like Lesotho 3 2 degrees still kind of coldish there, and spots in Turkey already coldish in the Caucasus, and northern Africa is still kind of mild. So this goes and shows like on October 1st, 2 to 43 degrees in the Middle East, spots Central Africa in the 30s and 40s as well. But this changes so much. The exact values will still change a lot, but it is just general trend. So be aware, still shows on October 2nd, spots in Mali and Algeria, very hot, in Oman, Saudi Arabia, more spots in Iran, in those areas. Northern Madagascar is already 36, 37, spots further south as well. So on October 2nd, 3rd, still kind of chilly in Central South Africa during the night, but during the day already warms up more, especially like Namibia and to Angola, 37 spots in Somalia, Kenya, already very hot, and still in spots Central Northern Africa into this belt in the Middle East. So be careful in October 3rd, 4th, and this trend continues later in those areas with the south gradually warming up. So be aware, those areas we'll keep watching everything. So now let's see if there are any dangerous windstorms. We talked about the typhoon, but there are some fronts in Russia of those stronger winds from time to time, and like shows that front in South Africa now might have a few areas of gustier winds. It shows like especially in the ocean near Mozambique and everything. And still those localized spots, Central Asia and India, some stronger, especially that disturbance with heavy rain, Western India, maybe spots of Sahara gusts. So be aware, Monday, Tuesday, and there comes another strong one into northern Russia there, with Sahara gusts on October 1st. This still might change a lot, but does show Mongolia to northern China, Sahara gusts there on October 2nd, and a few more fronts in eastern Russia possibly. So be aware, it's still showing some stuff in the ocean near South Africa on October 3rd. And then this goes and possibly some action in the Mediterranean, but we're still watching that. we'll we'll check more in the European videos. And this October 4th shows in South Africa still some systems nearby to watch, especially in the first week of October there, and those fronts in Russia. But this changes all the time, and if you are near any storm, you should always be careful of strong winds. So be aware and check your local weather forecast for updates. And here's the UV index that you should also worry about. I never show this in videos, but today I had the idea. And be careful, especially there in the deep tropics and spots the sun is stronger. So be aware, but my biggest concern here is flooding and this typhoon and also more spots of flooding. So that's still my biggest concern. Please be careful, and some spots of freezing rain in Russia is possible because of those fronts there, so be careful. In the general path of those fronts in Russia, some freezing rain and snow possible. So just checking Japan and South Korea shows that front from China. Tomorrow, the 28th, some storms, some more rains in the Koreas into Japan, especially Sunday into Monday, the 29th, shows this front in Japan with more wind and more rain and storms. So be aware, and then this goes potentially more disturbances to watch near Japan, still showing on October 1st, more rain, and those fronts in China there, those clippers. So be aware those areas and stay safe, especially with the flooding and everything. And that shows a tiny bit of rain in the Mediterranean coast as well, like spots in Algeria from those disturbance the Mediterranean. So we'll check this more in the European videos. But one thing, can someone explain to me why is there this much rain in the Sahara Desert? The Europeans showing like 200 millimeters southern Morocco next 5 days. I have never seen this before, but there's a trend because the GFS is also more rain in Mauritania, and the icon has like more rain southern Morocco. This might be from the remnants of Hurricane Gabriel that they're going to Spain. Not Spain, you pass near Portugal and the remnants will dive down. So this might be a mix of the rest of the monsoon plus the remnants of Gabriel. But know this, if you are in southern Morocco or also called Western Sahara and spots in Mauritania, be aware of more storms possible in the next 5 days because this is already a trend in the models. And we'll keep watching. Be aware. And I don't know if they still have Gabriel here, but it's off the map now. But just checking here, like here they must have it. So shows like still the remnants might dive down near Morocco, and but that rain the model showing is too far south, so just be aware there and stay safe. So let's use, before we end, let's use the European model to see, because now it's showing the dynamics of Gabriel going to Spain and Portugal and more storms in eastern Spain. This is a trend from today, because yesterday the European had going further south. But there's this remnant monsoonal moisture into southern Morocco by October 1st, so that might be a piece of the monsoon. So be aware, we'll keep watching, stay safe.